Okay, and welcome back to the Jamie Ross Show. I'm joined today by Tina Kelley. This is her new book called Almost Home, helping kids move from homelessness to hope. And I'm happy to welcome you to our studio here.
It's great to be here.
So when did this book come out now?
October 1st.
October 1st. And how did you choose this topic and how did you choose this book?
Well, when I worked at the New York Times in the Newark Bureau, I covered Kevin Ryan when he was the child advocate and later the commissioner of the foster care system in New Jersey. And we had a good relationship, reporter-source relationship. I spoke to him at the end of 2009, and he said he was interested in doing a book on homeless young people. He had since gone over to be the head of Covenant House, which is the largest shelter system for young people in the Americas. I had volunteered at Covenant House when I was right out of college, when I lived in New York, and I had a lot of respect for Kevin and his work, and he was looking for a co-author. So it was a wonderful job transition from the Times when I was doing the local blog to writing much longer form journalism and a topic that was very dear to my heart.
Sure, yeah, and the thing I didn't realize was how widespread Covenant House is throughout the country, because I'm so used to the one in the city.
Right.
And that's nice that you were able. Just out of college, you volunteered there.
Yeah.
And how long was that? And what sort of role did you play then?
I did volunteer work there for about 2 years out of college when I was working at a foundation that gave grants to Covenant House. And I worked in intake, doing interviews of the young people who were just coming into the shelter. I ran a literary magazine where we would put a box out and kids would put in their submissions and we'd accept everything and Xerox it and distribute it in the shelter. And I also did training on how to do job interviews.
Okay. Wow. So in that Covenant House, how many kids come through there?
I think they serve about 300 a night in New York.
Wow.
But there are also 7 different Covenant houses in New Jersey. We have a shelter in Newark at 300 Washington Street, which is the closest to us.
Right.
We have a home for kids with mental health issues in Montclair called Nancy's Place. There's a home for young mothers and babies in Elizabeth. And we have a big system in Atlantic City where there's transitional living as well as a crisis shelter. And we have outreach in Camden, Jersey City, and Asbury Park.
Wow. That's great. And how is Covenant House funded?
It's mostly private donations.
Is it really?
Yeah, they get some of the shelters get some government funding. I think Alaska does, but mostly private donations.
Right. And what separates Covenant House from other shelters, or it seems like they have a good system in place in helping people. What separates them from other type of places?
They are devoted solely to kids who are under 21. So if a kid finds himself homeless and goes to an adult shelter, they won't find the kind of love and respect that they get from Covenant House. It's called Covenant House because the kids make a promise with the counselors that the kids will follow their dreams and take the steps that they need to take to either get back home or get living independently, and the counselors will do everything they can to support that work.
Okay. And so when you had the book idea, it seems like you took 7 case studies? And how did you choose them? Did you just feel like just 7 different studies, like specific to certain issues?
Yeah, we definitely, it was the hardest part of the book was to find the right kids, because any homeless young person that I would talk to at the shelter, I would think, they would make a whole book in themselves. We were very cognizant of the need to get kids who had, at least one kid who had aged out of foster care, a kid who'd been kicked out of their home for being gay, a trafficked young person, which was hard. But we needed to get that issue in there. We wanted to get a young mother. We wanted to get someone who'd had a mentor. And then there were a couple that we just found their stories incredibly compelling.
Wow. And I've got to 2 of them so far. It's an interesting read, and it really opens up this whole world that many of us aren't familiar with. And so how's the experience been since the book has been out? What have you done? Seems like I've seen you traveling quite a bit lately.
We just got back from the longest part of the book tour, which was for me Seattle, Anchorage, and DC. And it's wonderful getting out and talking about this topic. Homeless kids are so invisible. You can spend your whole life not realizing that you're walking past them on the street or at a bus station. They want to be invisible, but their stories are so moving that it was important for us to get them out there. And now that we're out talking about the book, we actually get to interact with people rather than sit home with our laptops and write.
Right. And have you had people come out to you and that are reaching out to their covenant houses?
People are asking how they can volunteer, and the whole last chapter of the book is what you can do even from the comfort of your own laptop. Cory Booker did the foreword to the book, and he talks about his frustration that people don't do the small, important steps of kindness and love because they're so frustrated that they're not able to do the one big thing. And we are trying to get a movement going of people doing small, medium, and large actions to reduce youth homelessness.
Right. And that does seem to be an overwhelming thing, what can I do? We can only do so much, but if all of us do a little, that's what you're that's what you're going for. Well, that's great. And so what's next on your?
We're really excited about December 6th in New York City at the Barnes & Noble on West 82nd Street. We're going to be speaking along with Cory Booker.
Okay.
So any Cory Booker fans out there, this is your chance. Everyone's been asking me, when do you get to read with Cory, and it'll be then.
Oh, great. Yeah, Cory's been a lot more visible lately, it seems. I've seen him a lot more on all the shows and all the circuits, so he's been a good voice to have with you on the book. And he does do the intro, and so I think that, is there anything else I missed that you might want to mention?
I'd just like to emphasize how easy it is to actually do something significant for homeless kids. The shelter in Newark is very nearby. The shelter in Montclair is very nearby. Some of them never got a birthday cake when they were growing up. They were always told they were worthless. They were not going to amount to anything. I've gone down to the shelter to give knitting lessons or give manicures or just small outreach acts of kindness that let them realize that the world cares about them.
Right. So can you just walk through, here I am, I walk into Covenant House, I say, how can I help?
It would be better to contact the shelter in Newark first, or I can be reached at my email, which is tkelley, Kelley, at covenanthouse.org, and I could help set people up.
And do they have like a list themselves of where they need people? Yeah. And that's kind of how it works. Yeah. So you just reach out, you find out where they need it, and then is it a daily, a weekly schedule?
It's up to the people involved. If you want to do a one-time thing and see if it works for you. We've had people bring cookies down to decorate for the holidays, and it's just a nice way to interact with the kids and see how it goes. But usually you end up feeling you've gotten more out of it than they have.
Right, yeah. I'd imagine so. And so I also read the one thing that was interesting that Covenant House does for us is to give us the experience of sleeping out. Right.
That was last week. They have a national CEO sleep out. So business leaders and community members and regular citizens can sleep on the sidewalk for a night just to see what it's like. And our church ran one in South Orange a couple years ago. I participated in the DC one on Thursday night. Wow. So it was amazing to see how uncomfortable I was by morning, and think if I were a kid with fewer resources and didn't know where I was sleeping that night or where I could store my stuff during the day, but people were getting me to find a job or get back to high school, it would be so hard to do.
Right.
That sleep deprivation in itself was just insurmountable, and I could go home and sleep in a warm bed the next night.
Yeah. And how many people came out to that?
Oh, I think they had 400 across the country.
Wow.
We started off at the one in Anchorage, and they can't sleep outside there. It's illegal, but they had folks, gathered around a fire pit outside when they could, and then they actually did most of their sleeping inside.
Okay.
But each CEO's had a chance to talk to young people who are homeless, who are staying at the shelter, and hear their stories face to face. It's been impressive.
Wow. And what's the website for Covenant House?
It's covenanthouse.org. And then they have listings for each individual site, so you can get the contact information for the Jersey sites.
Okay. Well, it's Thanksgiving time, so let's get out there and try and help. And thanks again for coming out and for all the work with this book. Tina Kelley, and again, the book here is Almost Home, and you can buy it probably locally at Words. And online, of course, and So
all proceeds go to Covenant House for the book.
Wow, how about that? So go out there and buy one today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you online soon.
Thanks
you again. All right, that was great.
Come on in and take a seat for a while with me. Yeah, Jamie. We could just form a thing to take for a while. It doesn't really matter for your life for a while, 'cause you can try to find an end to decide. Every little thing is gonna find more. Stay a while with Jamie. Oh yeah, with Jamie. Jamie.